Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi there, this is Kaz Aston and I'm checking in from, the United Kingdom. I'm back in Ascot and I'm recording live in the studio here today for you to give you some updates and see what's happening, which has been quite a bit happening actually. I mean, it's quite interesting. And I think it's always good to learn, and education's got to be number one, hasn't it? But basically, as I said, we had a really good start to the year with the Shift MS conference, the European MS platform engaging, supporting Shift MS. They've got a great partnership going there, which is wonderful. And George, the guy that's the top person really in Shift MS, is doing a fantastic job. A fellow MS sufferer as well. And, you know, well done you, George. I really am grateful for all the work you do and all the stuff, and keep campaigning hard, particularly on some of the things that I'm interested in because it helps me, such as brain health and all the other things about lifestyle and MS. And, you know, I just think that we need to share sometimes. And I think this year for me has got to be all about collaboration. It's all about working together. It's all about sharing, you know, common thoughts, common thinking. Looking at ways of working together is quite interesting, actually. I think that's quite fun. I mean, I've just developed some brand new partnerships, which I'm going to tell you about later. And sorry, I need to speak slower. I'm so excited, though. So much has happened, I feel, since I last spoke to you. It's really busy. And I'm still trying to sort out the music in the background with my radio show. I'm not, unfortunately, not in the radio studio where I was last time. So, but I'm trying to do stuff here with YouTube, and I'm not really seeming to get much volume out of what I'm doing. So, gosh, no one would definitely employ me as a DJ, would they? I just think that sometimes, you know. But then again, I don't think I'd want to be a DJ full time, because it's quite hard, really, trying to know what is the best thing that you want to listen to, that you want to hear. And, you know, that's a big challenge, I think. So well done, and thank you very much to all the radio presenters out there that really do massive shows that actually make a big difference to people's lives. And I think that, for me, is one of the powers of radio, and the powers that I've found. Well, not power. What does power mean? Power is a bit of a contrived word, really, in some respects. But for me, it's all about, you know, it's all about the strength to move things forward. And we know that big voices and people that are doing well in life do actually manage to do that. So it's really, really important that we have these things together and we work together. And that's this whole idea for me of collaboration. Key word for me. There was even hints of that in the Queen's speech this, last time at Christmas. But, you know, collaboration is the key. And I know 1 + 1 can equal millions. You know, sometimes you can't do it on your own. You need to ask for help. And I think the asking for help bit shouldn't be seen too negatively, because, you know, we all need a bit of help sometimes, if only to get the right balance, the right input for any project, any work, any task, even if it's just doing something for your life. You know, I think that's really, really important. So, as I said, you know, that's all in process. And I think there's a lot of things going on, I think, in process that I'm working on, which I hope will come together. You know, I'm still coordinating the interviews. I've got an amazing interview and a chat of information, amazing information source with a bit of an expert in her field, another girly professor. So we're going to show that, and I'm going to share that, and hopefully the producers might put some link or something that we can do that. Because I had a chat to her and I wanted to find out if she had any top tips for people living with MS. You know, why not? Let's ask. And that, to me, is the key. If you don't ask, you don't know. So always ask the question, really, sometimes, and it's all happening on my phone lines here at the moment in the radio studio. So I'm very sorry for that. But anyway, I'm going to carry on. It's just a little bit of musical accompaniment. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so some of the things that I want to talk about as well that are important for the MS agenda and the PR agenda. We recently, with Monarchy Online, delivered our Inspirational Female Awards in London, which was pushed together quite quickly, really, because one of the winners isn't too well, and we wanted to make sure that she knew about her prize and all the people that kind of nominated her. Not so much the prize, but the recognition by the general public. You know, all these people getting in touch with us and saying she's done loads and loads and loads to help our charity. She's done so much to help so many good causes. And, you know, she's a bit of a go girl, you know, rah. And I totally agreed. And as I said to you, they were all nominated by the public. We had a lot of input and a lot of support for something effectively, you know, we looked at to actually recognise the power and the impact of professional females providing support for women. Not necessarily in this country. We heard we had winners that were helping people in Pakistan, that were helping people in all sorts of places in the world. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about some of these places that you think, wow, you know, where's that? You know, it could be somewhere around the corner in your local community. And, you know, and I think that's important to recognise. Sometimes there's a lot going on right in front of you that you don't always pick up. I mean, it's the old cliche, isn't it? You know, if you lose something, look. What do people say? Look where you are. Look right in front of you. Because 9 times out of 10, it's there. So that is a very good tip, and I've put myself out of misery, because sometimes I just lose things. I don't know if that's an MS symptom or not, but sometimes I just do. And it feels like often in my handbag, often in my bag, my day bag or whatever that I'm carrying with all my work stuff in there. But, you know, it's a challenge. So, you know, and that was interestingly, and I'm going to pick straight up on the fact I reached out to people and put a message out on social media, you know, about, have you got any top tips? Have you got anything that you want to share with other people with MS that could help their lives? And one of the recurrent themes that actually came and, you know, was shown to us when we were going through it was, keep a record of what you're doing. You know, sometimes you get brain overload combined with a bit of brain fog, and you can't actually remember all the things you've got to do. Because we normally have loads to do in life. And I think that is really important, you know. I mean, it's quite a simple technique, but I'm a firm believer about lists. I remember my friend say, oh God, where there's a list, Kaz, where is the list? And I said, there you go. At least so you know what you're doing, you know, why we're here, who we're here for, what we're doing. I think that's really important. Who, where, when, and what for. You know, that is important, as with anything. That's a tip with writing a good media release. You know, set the scene. Who is it for? Where is it for? Why is it? You know, all of these things. And it actually helps people to understand. And that's what we need to do sometimes with our campaigns for charity. We need to help people understand why they need to give it some time out of their lives. Because we're busy people. Life is busy. I mean, you wouldn't think actually recording a radio show is a big deal. But for me it is, because I've got to fit it around a time that I know that I'm going to have some quiet. I'm not going to have too many interruptions. And it's quite a good time actually, because I'm changing my network provider for my mobile phone. So in the diversion bit, I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening, but it's all a bit technical with you need this code and that code. And I'm like, okay, please keep me on the same number, because that's a number on the website. So if you are trying to get in touch with me by my website, you know, mobile number nominated, which is 07768904878, which is a UK mobile number. It's undergoing a change at the moment. As I said, we're migrating, I don't know if that's the right technical term, to a provider. So bear with us. If you're trying to get hold of me, maybe better to email, or, you know, just give me a bit of time to respond. So, but thank you on that point. Thank you so much for all your emails and all your inputs. And as I said, that was one of the key features. Interestingly, writing lists, not getting frustrated when you forget things. You know, because I think sometimes we'll give ourselves a hard time. And sometimes I think we need to make us do things. It's motivational. But other times we're just really, really tough with ourselves. And, you know, and as I said, we're kicking off the new year, you know, I still see myself, even though we're nearly in February, but January's that time of kind of waking up when we've got over, how we're going to get snow, what's happening with the weather, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's what's happening there. And it's all really interesting stuff. And while I'm coming on to interesting stuff, I want to jump straight in to a wonderful organisation that is supporting MS, that is very motivated to help and make a difference to people's lives and, you know, in the world that they work in, which is management consultants. And some people say, you know, what's a management consultant? Have a look at it. It's quite interesting, read actually, if you Google it. But at the same time, you know, there's always this, I found this big debate, what is the difference between a project manager and a management consultant? Well, actually, there is quite a difference. And when you read about it and learn about it, you will understand. So I'm not going to labour the point because this is an MS radio show and I'm here to talk about MS. But at the same time, you know, it's interesting to know that these people from an organisation have decided to work together with me, with the MS Clear Guide team, with the, you know, with you guys here on the radio, to actually look at how we can do something different this year for MS. So we're actually going to partner up with the Worshipful Company of Management Consultants in the City of London, which has got an interesting hashtag WCOMC. So they've got a website. We're working with them to make sure that they're really in tune with, they want to become more social media friendly. And come on, we all know about the benefit of becoming more social media friendly, and we all know we need to do it, and we all know we need to share that information sometimes so people can be on the same page. We're talking about the same things. We're not, you know, talking about something that they don't understand or they've never heard of. You know, we haven't got time for that. You know, and we all live busy lives because we've all got so many amazing things to do. So, you know, these are all the things that I've been sharing, and that was one of the key themes that I haven't got that many responses, guys. You know, I want to urge you, please get in touch with me via my website, via, you know, the MS Clear Guide website, on Twitter at Kaz Aston. That's normally quite an easy way, apart from at the moment having a headache with passwords. But, you know, what I'm saying to you is get in touch with me. If you feel that you've got a point to make and a point to share, share it. You know, I believe that is really important, and that's why I will stand up at any ministerial budgetary comment if it affects us guys with MS in the UK. I'm going to say something. So, sorry, that's the way I feel about life, and I think going back to the overarching theme for this year, 2018, we're talking about collaboration. We're talking about the power of working together. We're talking about how 1 + 1 can equal 25, you know. The power of the extra strength, of the voice, of the support, of the knowledge, of the skills, you know. I mean, we're all so different with all the things that we know. So, anyway, that's going to be a key theme of what I'm working on to get some information. If you've got something to share, please share it. I mean, I do get some interesting conversations. We've been doing a project to try and recycle old coats, you know, and they were made out of fur, and it's been quite controversial. And my argument is, well, I know it's not right that they went that route to get that fabric to make that coat, but it's going to be chucked in the bin, and it's beautiful. What is the point of that? We know that the actual sourcing and the way it was done, well, I don't know that definitely, but, you know, hypothetically, we look at what could have happened. But, you know, I look at all of these things, and I always urge people to look at the bigger picture, because, yeah, this was a coat that we're turning into a bag, that we're turning into something that somebody can use. And actually, I'd say, talking to my business partner at A&L Fashion London, what's the life expectancy of these garments, of this quality material, of this blah, blah, blah. You're looking at a long time, actually, with some of these recycled things. You know, and as I said, when they've been cleaned and looked after. It's always like my dad says to me, look after your car engine, Karen, and it will always do you well. So, you know, invest in it, look after it, clean it, love it, care for it. But as I said, these things can go on, and this whole recycling thinking in a way that is a little bit controversial. I've had some interesting debates on social media about it already. I'm not condoning that. I'm saying this is how it is, and this is what we're going to do. So we're actually taking an actual to another better situation, in my opinion. So we can raise money for charity. We can do whatever we can do. But at the same time, you know, we're thinking differently under the handle of recycling. So that's really kind of good, really. And as I said, we've got a load more stuff to come out with the Inspirational Female Awards. You know, as I said, we've got 10 ladies that got awarded for this. And one of those is an MS nurse. And this MS nurse has not got the award yet. And what a shame, because we'll have to go to the hospital and we'll have to do something big. And then we'll remind the chief exec of the hospital, Charing Cross in London, Hammersmith, no names mentioned. Brilliant hospital. I get my MS treatment there. You know, and it is really good, and I can't fault it. It saved my life. My doctors are amazing, my nurses are amazing. Of course, I'm biased, but they are. I wouldn't lie. I just would say it's good. It's okay, you know. But they're really good. So I hope those are too. But as I said, we've got an award for an MS research nurse, actually. And I'm really into my MS research. And for those of you, thank you very much that are following me on my Paperly MS Research Daily. Thanks, because I find it very educational. I was reading something on there today about having an nystagmus in your eye. I had that. It's a pivotal sign of MS, apparently. You know, there's these things that you can learn about and that you can understand, actually, that make, when you sometimes look back, it's all down to this kind of like age brings wisdom and experience. You know, so you can actually look back and think about that. And I think, well, I did have that. And there's a few kind of things that are quite common that I experience that are prevalent in people with MS. So, you know, that actually is quite important. And I think sometimes, you know, you need to think about that and embrace all of the research and all of the information that we're getting from all this great medical stuff. And that's a combination of the hospitals, the medical staff, the patients, the funding bodies, the trusts, the pharmaceutical companies that make the drug, you know, everybody working together. And I'm not batting for anyone's team here, because as you know, I'm independent. I speak from the heart. I say how it is as a person living with MS, but also as a person, a human being living in this world, living in the United Kingdom, experiencing the whole setup and support mechanisms, of course, for MS. But at the same time, you know, I think sometimes sharing is linked to caring. And I think if you share your feelings about stuff, you know, people know that you maybe appreciate something. But also, you know, as I said, it's motivational for people earlier. You know, if you actually motivate people and inspire them to go on, you can go on and change the world. I'm not plugging out for everybody to go off and do a load of voluntary work here, guys. But I'm saying, have a look at the opportunities, because I've met so many people these recent years volunteering that it's changed their lives, and they've actually gone off and done totally different. They've married really interesting, diverse people that they never would have met. So don't put these ideas down. Have a look at the best option. Some of these MS trips that they do for charity, I mean, they sound amazing. The skiing, the walking, the whatever. I mean, you know, I'm not into skiing. I don't mind watching it, you know, but it's not my thing. It's all that balance challenge. And, you know, I don't know how many of you guys have issues with balance. I think it's a big thing that we all do. Sometimes more, sometimes less, sometimes certain times of the day. And sometimes maybe because you're too tired, or because you got the wrong shoes on, or anything. So there's a whole load of consideration and extra factors that you have to think about. So I really do think that's important, and I really do think that, you know, it's worth thinking about. So going back, as I said, to the Worshipful Company of Management Consultants, I'm doing some work at the moment to help people find out about them, because one of their absolute areas of wisdom that they've got, they're very experienced people, top of their game, world leaders, you know, in this particular area. Absolute privilege to know them, to work with them. And I thought, well, I want to look at this project really seriously because they're serious people. It's all linked to universities, not just one, not London ones, I mean, it's Warwick University and this university. So have a look at that. As I always say, the Worshipful Company of Management Consultants are very inspirational. But what we're doing actually this year is actually looking at different ways of helping people to find out, helping people to get support when they've qualified, because they could be a lone practitioner, they could be working on their own. And I think you always need a bit of support. And I think as well as support, it's looking at things differently. It's sharing ideas. It's embracing some of the new fashions, some of the new things that actually impact on the task at hand. So definitely worth looking, I think, in any profession. I don't know if you've found this, at the support groups or the professional groups or the union oriented, whatever groups. I was a nurse. I was in all these specialist groups because I was a specialist type of nurse, after I'd done all this training. But there are groups and there are things out there that can really help you. But, you might be at a point in your career where you want to do something different. So, if that's the case, you should reach out to these organisations and see what they've got to say. And I'm particularly really encouraging women because they're really good. Because there are still the groups where it's men only and stuff. But these are business, young professionals, young CEOs, young managing directors, young people that have got a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, are doing it on their own. Sometimes need a bit of support. So we're looking at ways that we can actually champion the skills that they're offering members of the organisation. Plus, they also do loads of training things, which are really helpful, educational, and with world global experts. I was standing there and going, "Who's that?" So, as I said, the WCOMC is a great organisation. I'm working with them, so I think they're great, and I wouldn't give them my time, if I didn't think they had, if they weren't great or they had potential to be, because we've got to think about our time management, and that's another part. So, as I said, I've got some films, I've got some new stuff coming out that I'm going to be sharing soon on social media. I've got some snippets and some highlights and a couple of interviews from the MS Prague event. One with someone that's got MS, that's really, really actually a solicitor by background. She's really cool. And also a volunteer that hasn't got MS, hasn't got anyone in the family with MS, but just wanted to help because the idea of working together, and it seemed a really cool thing to do. And I was like, wow, thank you. So, as I said, these are really good opportunities that we have. So I'm going to be touching on some of those and sharing those films with you. As you know, I do a lot with social media and PR. We've got this new radio station for you here, for MS and people affected by MS or whatever with MS. It's amazing. We have a 24-hour radio show at MS, It is amazing. Big shout out and a big thank you to all of the producers and all the people that work so hard to bring this show. Erica, you are inspirational. And yeah, I can't say thank you enough. But at the same time, I also want to say to you guys, please keep in touch. Please drop me an email. Share these challenges. Share these things. Tweet about it. Talk to me on Twitter. I don't mind. Facebook. Any of the different social media platforms. Check me out at Kaz Aston. But don't be alone. There's always someone out there that can give you some advice. And I'm really, really into this, as I said, with actually this whole mentor, this whole supporting, helping people to get through tough times, maybe when they're running a business or they're running a company or whatever, but sometimes you just need to talk to someone that maybe has been there, done it, done well at it, learned that they needed to do better at it. So I urge all of these things, and I'm going to be sharing that on my social media feeds. But as I said, we're going to be doing some stuff, I hope, for coaching, for supporting, for mentoring young business professionals, and particularly women, because we are in the year of the woman. And that is my closing thought. Don't forget, we are in the year of the woman, so I've got good cause to talk about these inspirational women. Thank you so much for listening. I love talking to you. I hope you're still awake, and I hope you'll get in touch if you've got something to share or you want other people with MS to know about. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Lots of love from London.